I am going to show you how to make several different types of graphs in Pages. The first thing I'm going to do is swipe down and then search for Pages and then wait for it to open. I'm going to create a new document. So just select a blank document. You're going to be moving these elsewhere, so it doesn't really matter what sort of document you put it on. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to tap on the plus sign in the upper right hand corner, like so. Whoops. And then you're going to go over to the second option from the left with the bars. The first graph I'm going to select is a pie chart. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, but if I needed a bar chart for like the top 10 most populated cities, just select one of the bar charts. And then you can go through and scroll through and it gives you some different visual options. But I'm going to select a pie chart. So as long as you have these blue handles around your chart or graph, you can edit the data or you can edit the look of the graph. So if I tap off it, the blue dots go away. But if I tap back on it, the blue dots come back on, and then this black bar appears, this menu bar. I'm going to select Edit Data. In here is where you're going to plug in the data for your country. So let's say that I'm making this graph for the types of religion. So where it says April, May, June, etc., I'm going to type in maybe I will add Roman Catholic. Maybe in this one I'm going to put Protestant. And then so on and so forth. So you would just continue to fill out the remaining spaces needed. Now, if you only have 3 main religions and you don't need all these extra June, July, August other columns, then you can press and hold at the top of the color above the word, and then this little option comes up, or it highlights it all blue. If I tap again once, I can delete it. Another thing that you can do is you can grab the handle at the side and then stretch it and then delete it too. Now where it says region 1, you can go ahead and delete this because you don't need anything there. And then when you finish entering your data, and when you're doing a pie chart, it automatically puts the information in percentages, so you don't have to worry about putting percents in. I'm going to say done. And so far, we have a pretty good looking graph, but we just have to do a couple things to it. So again, make sure that you have the handles around your graph. So I just lost mine, so I'm going to put the handles back on it. And then this time, to go in and make changes to the look of my graph, I'm going to tap the paintbrush. So first thing your graph chart needs to have is a title. So we're going to add a title. In here, if you want to, you can change the font type. Whatever you choose, just make sure it's a font that is easy to read. And then you can change the font size. Titles probably should be a little bit larger, so we're going to go ahead and make that larger. Okay, so to add a title, just double tap where it says title, and then I'm going to put, let's say this is religions of Honduras. And then you should be able to move the title a little bit too if we want to. Or this box, actually, maybe we can move and kind of get that. Well, maybe. There. You have to play around with it a little bit, but you should be able to move your text box a little bit so that well, I can't get mine to work right now, but I tell you it does work. Some other things that we can do to your graph. You can change colors here. There's not a whole lot of editing options available for our pie chart. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add, I'm going to move this out of the way here. We're going to add a bar graph. So I'm just going to choose just a plain old bar graph, and then we'll say that this graph is representative of the 10 most populated cities. So I'm going to tap on it, get the handles, hit edit data. All right, so this will be city, oh, make sure that things are capitalized. So this will be city 1, this will be city 2, this will be city 3. Now, obviously, you're going to have the correct names of the cities. I'm just doing this to save time real quick. And then I'm just going to go through and add some numbers. When you're putting in numbers in the thousands, you don't have to include the comma. We can do that afterward. So let's just say that's population. I don't need this region 2 down here right now. If I was comparing this with another city, then I would. I'm going to delete this right here. And then region, we can delete that as well. And then I'm going to say done. And there's my bar graph. So some things that your bar graph has to have that your other graph does not will be the following. I'm going to go to the paintbrush. We need to label lots of stuff. So we're going to add a chart title. If you want to, you can add a border around it. Again, you can change the font if you so choose. In our x-axis, we have to go down to the second to the last option where it says axis name, and we're going to add that. And we're going to go to our y-axis, and then we have to move this a little bit, and we're going to say axis name as well. And then if you want to, you can do some other options, like I can change the way that my label is arranged, so you can move your values a little bit if you want. Whatever looks best to you, just, you want your graph to look consistent. Okay, so then to add titles down here, just double tap like you did in the title before, and then this would be like name of city, and then the value axis would be total population, and then your title would be top 10 cities in Honduras. So there are your two types of graphs. Just make sure if you have a bar or line graph that you're including values for your x and y axis, and all of your graphs need to have a name or a title. One thing we can do with this graph here is our little legend. We don't really need that. So if we go to the paintbrush again and we go to the chart, we can turn off that legend, and so then it goes away. So that way it just cleans it up a little bit. Don't forget, after you create your graph, you need to do a graph reflection. So when you do your graph reflection, tell me first what stands out to you. What do you notice when you look at this graph? And then can you make any predictions why it is the way that it is? So for example, let's just say in Honduras, 54% of the population practices the Roman Catholic religion. Well, could that be because it was colonized by Spain? and that was one of the main one of the main goals of the Spanish was to spread Christianity throughout this new world that they were inhabiting. So I really want you to think about the data that you see and then the reason why it is that way. And then you can also make predictions. So like if I'm looking at, my top 10 most populated cities, well, go look at a map. Are they located around the water? Is there a reason why people settle around water? Or maybe most of these cities are inland, because remember, it's very hot and humid along the coast. So maybe they're living at a higher altitude in the mountains. So really think about the data, but also think about what you've already learned about certain aspects of geography and connect those two. And don't be afraid to use extra resources if you need to.